All right, Tori, so I'm glad to see you for our extra intervention today. We're going to continue your interventions surrounding your word recognition and comprehension reading goals for the school year that we've already talked about. Your objective this session in particular is to attempt to not flip letters and words with 100% fidelity. Prior, you had missed some words on your advanced DDS word recognition assessment. You said lips versus lisp. So it's just that flip, that letter flip that can trick us up. So we have to make sure when you're reading that you read through the word and you don't accidentally flip letters. So you're trying to not accidentally what? Yeah, make sure you're talking loud and proud. So you're also avoiding trying to make that simple mistake or miscues. And also you're remembering to use your index finger strategy. What is that for? Why do we use our index finger in here?
So like if I need help or if I need to elaborate.
Yeah, to elaborate, or if you're confused or need help, it's a self-advocating strategy. And also, of course, we know about breaks. You took one right before we started. So, again, by the end of this session, you will have been able to make sure you attempt to not flip letters and words with 100% fidelity. So our agenda is on the board. You can see we're going to do our intro to the purpose of the session we just did. We're also going to do word recognition activities. You might have been wondering what this is in front of you. It's a game we're going to play, a flip cup tic-tac-toe game and flip words activity. Then we're going to do a comprehension activity later, modeling explicit questioning and evidence strategy. I'm going to do that for you. Then you are going to do a comprehension activity and do your own explicit questioning evidence strategy that I had just modeled for you. Then we're going to do a closing activity to generalize the skills that we were doing to make sure you don't flip your letters and words, and to make sure you do our comprehension strategy about explicit question review. Do you have any questions yet?
No.
All right. Timer. Perfect. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Love how you're checking the screen. So the first thing we're going to do is learn about the don't flip the letters word work. It's a tic-tac-toe game. So sometimes we forget to continue reading through the words and not flipping letters if they look simple or easy. So I want to make sure that you don't flip seemingly simple words by not attending to small letters or not understanding them in context when reading a text. We're going to do a game to keep that in mind when we're reading short or long words, so we're not going to make easy little simple mistakes by flipping letters. So we're going to watch the short video. So go ahead and check the screen. So you can see the cup is what? On the bottom right at first, and then they're trying to flip it to get it flat. Okay? So that's exactly what we're going to do. And then the first one is to go 3 across for tic-tac-toe wings. You're going to practice in a minute flipping some cups. For the purpose of the game is not just to have fun flipping cups, right? But we're trying to make us think about not flipping our letters, right? So we're going to get up and get moving in our minds to think about not flipping things, right? Not just flipping cups, but we're trying to make sure that when we read words, we don't what? Yeah, to flip the letters. So you are, again, going to try to flip the cup to get it to be flat so that you can make 3 across for tic-tac-toe. Do you think that you can beat me?
Probably.
Maybe. All right. Don't sleep on.
Something like this.
You did something like this? Okay, cool. So again, the reason that we're talking about flipping cups connects back to our objective today. Sometimes we, again, continue accidentally when we're reading through words to read quickly, right? So we need to make sure that we're not flipping the letters even when they're simple or easy words, right? I want to make sure you don't flip seemingly simple words by not attending to the small letter or not understanding them in context when reading a text. So today we're going to do a game to keep that in mind when reading short or long words. So we're trying to not make easy mistakes by flipping what?
Letters.
Letters. Great. So you can go ahead and get up. And we're going to set our timer for 6 minutes so we can play our game. All right, so you can go ahead and try first. So you're trying to flip it. We can move some of these others so they don't get in your way. Right. Try to flip it. You got to use your strategy. Hey, close. Okay, keep going. Nope. Oh, I'm close. All right. Neither one of us may win it. Looks like you gotta do it more gently. Oh, I got it. All right, I got my first one. All right, now you gotta beat me. Looks like you gotta do it gently. Use our strategy. Oh, you got one. All right, now I gotta compete. So close. Oh man, you're gonna beat me. It's so close. All right. We're both close. Oh! You did good work. All right. Oh! Here we go. Just getting there. We're getting competitive now. It can be anybody's game. Oh! Oh no! Now there's no way I can win. But you did. You didn't even notice. Look, you won. All right. Awesome. You got too heated up trying to flip. You forgot about the tic-tac-toe game. All right. That was pretty cool. All right. So the objective of the game is, yes, to be fun. But what did we learn? What are we supposed to be learning or to remember? While we're thinking about this cup flipping game, what are you supposed to be remembering?
To not make easy mistakes by flipping the letters.
Exactly. So every time you think about flipping a letter, when you're reading too quickly, you need to think about our cup game, right? And if you go too quickly, you might what? Mess up your cup and not be flat, and then you can't start playing. And you beat me, so beating old people, that's not even fair. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and set the timer for our next section. So our continued objective for today's session, again, is that you will be able to not flip letters in words with 100% fidelity, reading through each letter or sound completely. So our guiding question is, am I making sure I don't flip commonly mispronounced or misunderstood words? So first, in a moment, I want you to do a cold read. You can see the words on the screen. You're going to read these words out loud. And I want to just ensure that you know how to say them, okay? After that, I'm going to model for you regarding their definitions to tell them apart in context or in the text, right? So finally, we're going to see if you can choose the correct one for a short, silly scenario story that Miss Hanson wrote trying to trick you. So it's called the Don't Flip Out Challenge, all right? So the first thing I want you to do is go ahead and try to read all these words on the screen for me loud and proud. Go ahead.
Lips.
Okay.
Lisp.
Okay.
Loose. Loss.
Pause. What was this word again right here?
Loss.
Try it again.
Loose.
If you had L-O-S-S, that would be lost, but try it again. This is loose with two O's. So what would this be with just one O? Lose. Excellent. Okay, keep going.
Lead.
Okay.
Lead.
Pause. They're actually tricky. This is lead, but this is also like that kind.
Lead.
Yes, they're both lead. Okay.
Advice. Advice.
Mm-hmm.
Breathe. Breathe.
Pause. This is breathe with the E on the end. So what is this?
Breath.
Excellent. Great job. I like how you self-corrected and tried to say the word over again. So, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look on the screen still, and I am now going to give you some examples of how to tell these words apart, okay? So, now, again, you're trying to make sure that if you might mispronounce these misunderstood words, that when you read them in a word with the text in context, I want you to see if you can remember them because of the definitions that I give you, okay? So the first commonly flippable pair of words, which is actually the words you messed up on when we read that first text a long time ago in September, was lips and lisp, okay? So lips, we know obviously are these nice, luscious, pink, pretty lips. Probably somebody got fancy lipstick from Sephora. Okay, and then we're gonna see a quick video about lisp. So the first word is lips, L-I-P-S, and the second one is lisp. What's the first one?
Lips.
L-I-P-S. So spell it and then say the word.
L-I-P-S. Lips.
Okay, and then the second one is?
Lisp.
Okay, and spell it?
L-I-S-P.
Great. So we're going to now watch the video.
A lateral lisp sounds like this and is caused by air flowing over the side of the tongue instead of the front. Find out how to treat a lateral lisp at speechandlanguagekids.com/lateral lisp. Make sure you get 2 L's.
All right. So track me. How do you spell lips?
Lips.
Mhm.
L-I-P-S.
Great. And how do you spell lisp?
L-I-S-P.
Great. So now we're going to look on the screen again, and we have loose. What do you notice this first picture is of? Loose.
Someone's clothes is not.
It's not just someone. Who do you think that is?
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. And Santa Claus is he a skinny little man?
No.
No, he's usually pretty fat, right? But this Santa looks like he took the Subway diet or something, right? Because now his pants are what?
Big, like very loose.
Very loose, right? So that's a good example of loose because we know Santa Claus is not usually on a diet. He's eating cookies and milk, right? And okay, so on the other side we have loose pants here, right? So you can remember 2 O's maybe for Santa's loose pants because he has an extra weight in there that he has lost, right? Loose. Okay, and then on the other side we have, what is this word again? Lose. What's the word?
Lose.
What's the word?
Lose.
Great. This is an example of, and I can be a hater because I'm from Alabama. This is Nick Saban, and when he loses, Alabama, when they lose, they're kind of sore losers. So they all look upset. They all look a little irked because they lost the game. So when Alabama loses, Nick Saban, the coach, kind of gets all up in his feelings, and his players do too, and the fans. They're pretty sore losers. And again, I can say that because I'm from Alabama, so I can say that. I got sick of hearing Roll Tide, Crimson Tide my whole life. Okay, so loose. Remember, we have 2 O's in loose for Santa's loose pants, right? So when you see 2 O's, think about all that extra weight, extra O that Santa has, right? And when Nick Saban and Alabama loses, it's just like they're in their feels, but it's not a lot of extra weight like Santa. Loose, right? 2 O's. This is just lose. They're just lose. They don't want to lose. Okay, so the next 2 commonly mispronounced, misspelled, miscued words are lead and lead. Same word, right? But they're spelled very, very slightly different. So in this first example, what do you see? A picture?
Dog leading a lady.
Okay, so this German Shepherd led the blind lady. This German Shepherd led the blind lady. This is what?
Lead for pencil.
Yeah, lead for your mechanical pencil. It's just very slight difference. This is a confusing word though, because you could also say the dog is leading someone, and then it would be L-E-A-D-I-N-G. So this one is very confusing. So if you led someone, L-E-D, the dog led, or if you could say like the Lord, some people say that in church, led me to believe something, that would be L-E-D. But if it's lead in a pencil, it's always going to be L-E-A-D, okay? Sometimes this could be leading, L-E-A-D-I-N-G, but lead in a pencil is always going to be this. This can sometimes just be one E, okay? So lead with the dog is what? L-E-D. And lead in your pencil is always what?
L-E-A-D.
Great. So the next commonly mispronounced word we're trying to tell apart is advice and advise. Advice and? Great. So on this portion, they have 2 different examples. Advice, A-D-V-I-C-E, is a verb. Advice, A-D-F-I-S-E. A-D-F-I-S-E is a verb. It means to do. You can ask your advisor in college, right, to help you pick classes, right? So advise is something you're going to do, or something else is going to do. Okay, so they're giving an opinion or a suggestion to someone about what would be done, right? So the correct way to do this is, I don't know what to do. Please advise me. The incorrect thing is, I have a problem and I need some advice, right? So advise is an S. Advise is an?
S.
But you don't ask someone for advice, right? You ask them for what?
Advice.
Advice. But you could ask an advisor for advice. It's confusing, right? So advice is the actual thing that you're having to go ask for, the noun, okay? So an advice, a piece of advice, is an opinion or a suggestion about what someone should do, okay? So the correct way for this is you can say Sam Smith had a problem, so I gave him advice, okay? The incorrect way to do this is say the father always advises his children, right? You don't go get a piece of advice like a piece of rice, right? You might advise your children to act right or you're going to get snatched up, right? But you don't get a advise, right? You get the piece of something, that is the noun, the one thing, advice, right? But if you go to the college counselor, you're what? Getting what? Advised. Advised. You could go to the college counselor to get advice, the thing that you need, but they are going to advise you, okay? So now, we're going to go ahead and pause there for just a moment. Alright, sorry, I had to get tissue. Okay, so the next commonly mispronounced word that we are trying to avoid flipping is breathe and breath. Is what?
Breathe and breath.
Great. So, as you can see on that first picture on the left side, just breathe. What's the word? You see some clouds, right? With that phrase, just breathe. So that makes me think of something calm, right? Or when I need to calm down, I might look up at the sky, right? Or to think and take a walk somewhere outside. Some people might look up and even pray. And we're trying to still look at the screen, thank you. And I'm trying to calm down, right, by breathing over and over slowly. But on the right side, I see it looks kind of like a book cover. It says one breath at a time. It says what? Yeah, it says one breath at a time. And this actually makes me think of like a mom who is pregnant and they're about to give birth. So they usually say like in and out, take one breath. What is it?
One breath.
Yeah, take one breath at a time. It's kind of fast because they're usually like stressed or in pain or nervous. But you cannot take more than one breath at a time, right? It's physically impossible. So keep that in mind for the difference. So just breathe makes you think of the clouds, right? That extra E. You see all those clouds in the sky. You're trying to be calm. You're trying to soothe yourself. But breath would be something like one breath at a time when you're trying to calm down because you might be stressed, anxious like the pregnant lady. Okay? So, Tori, how do you think you might could apply this strategy to your reading in just a moment? Okay, pause. Remember, these words we're talking about, we used our cup strategy for to think about, or what? To avoid what? Yeah, we're trying to avoid flipping letters, to not make what?
Mistakes.
Yeah, to not make silly mistakes with smaller words, and even when we're reading the longer, bigger words, right? So now, you are going to attempt those commonly mispronounced, misunderstood, flippable words. You're going to choose some in a silly story in a second that Miss Hanson wrote. Remember, this is the Don't Flip Out Challenge. What is it?
Don't flip out challenge.
Right. All right. So, we're going to read the silly story, and you're going to make sure to not get tricked pronouncing the easy to flip words. So, what I need you to do is you're going to get a marker. Go ahead and come up to the board. It's all on the projector. And you are going to circle the word that you think goes in there. We're going to read it out loud, and then you're going to circle or underline either one that you feel comfortable with. Okay? So, I'm going to go ahead, and you're going to scoot to the side right there. All right, because I want to be able to see the words that you're choosing. All right, so we're going to go ahead and read it out loud. Miss Hanson's going to read. You're going to underline the word you think it is. My mom always gave me, choose which word you think it is and say it out loud.
Advice.
Okay, advice. She thinks that's the word. To not have, which word do you think it is? Look at what it's going to say. My mom always gave me advice to not have. I like how she's looking at the sentence, seeing which word she thinks fits the best. Is it lose or loose? Lose or loose? My mom always gave me advice to not have. All right, she picked loose. Is it lisp or lips? Lisp or lips? My mom always gave me advice to not have, you said loose, lisp, or lips about your personal life. All right, so the first one, you got 2 out of 3 right. So go ahead and write at the end of that period, 2 out of 3. Go ahead and write 2 out of 3. So we still got to work on that lips versus lips because you chose lisp. Okay, you can't have loose lips, right? You can't have loose lips to not gossip. Okay, we're going to do the next sentence. It says, if I do slip up and tell the wrong girlfriend, though, I might be. Which lead is it? Which lead is it? Remember, 1 is only for something you write with. 1 is only for something you write with. Which one is it? L-E-D or L-E-A-D? She's thinking. She's going to circle the right word. All right, pick the right one. I might be led, scoot to the side for me, by the Lord to not loose or lose. To not loose or lose. All right, to not lose my temper when she tells my boo all my business and ruins my year of my new school. It may take lots of deep breaths or breathes to calm me down, though. Woo! Which one is it? To take a lot of deep breaths or breathes? To take a lot of deep breaths or breathes? All right, to take a lot of deep breaths. So go ahead and write 3 out of 3 at the end of that sentence. Good job so far. All right, next sentence. I sit between Rhynisha and Mariah, but they talked about me on the bus. So I didn't want to ask either one of them for lead for my pencil Thursday. Which lead is it? Remember, one of them is the one you put in your pencil. Which one is it? Like how she's thinking about it? Like how she's thinking about it. Which one is that? One you put in your pencil lead. All right, excellent. Go ahead and write 1 out of 1 there. Go ahead and write 1 out of 1 there. Great job. That last one says, when I went to the tour of the College of the Ozarks this summer, the tour guide advised us that we must live on the campus during freshman year. Which one is it? Advised or advised? Advised or advised? Excellent. Go ahead and write 1 out of 1. Great job. So, go ahead and have a seat in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back to that. Great. So you had 2 plus 3, that's 5, 6, 7. 7 out of 8. Great job doing our Don't Flip Out challenge. Go ahead and erase the board in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to go ahead and finish our introduction for comprehension later on today. But thank you so